Welcome to the Multi-Orgasmic Mama podcast, where sexual taboos are broken. I'm Tilly Storm, holistic sex coach and jade egg and tantric sex teacher. I work with luxury lovers, teaching them the art of better sacred sex by helping them remove all their blocks to pleasure, turn on confidence and connection, so they can step into their fullest potential and power as humans and alchemists in the 3D. If you'd like to learn how to release shame and guilt destroying your sex life so you can feel fully sexually liberated and free, you can access my How to Release Shame and Guilt training at www.tillystorm.com/shame. This episode is brought to you by the Sensually Embodied Woman Collective. If you're ready to remove all your blocks to pleasure, turn on and feeling confident and sexy in your body through my paid programs and offerings, then head to www.tillystorm.com today. Welcome back, my luxury lovers. It's Tilly here, and today I'm going to be talking to you about why I don't work with couples until you have worked with me one-on-one first. I have gotten lots of emails in the past asking if I do couples coaching or relationship coaching. And the answer is yes, but not until I have worked with one of you at least one-on-one first. And the one of you being the one that's actually reaching out to me. And this often perplexes people because we have this idea in society that if there's something wrong in the relationship, then we go to couples counseling, or we go to couples therapy, and that's all fine and dandy, but that is not me. And I'm going to tell you all about why that is not me and why that is not my approach to helping people, especially women, through lack of desire, lack of a pleasure capacity, feeling like they don't experience a lot of pleasure in their sexuality or their day-to-day life, and why couples counseling isn't going to work for you in the first place, all right? So let's get at it. All right, the first reason that I do not work with couples until you have worked with me one-on-one first is I believe that you are the creator of your experience. And if you are not happy with your experience of relationship and sexuality, then you first need to look at how and why you have created that in the first place and take personal responsibility. I don't know if it was because I got raised in the South with a blue-collar daddy who worked his butt off when I was growing up, but I have always had an extremely amazing work ethic. I am American, and I know this is an American ideal, or it's just one of those things that's kind of ingrained in us growing up, and sometimes to a fault. I have had to unpack my working too much and putting work a priority, all of that conditioning, and time and time again in my own business and in my own life, and I am totally aware of that, but that doesn't disregard the inner knowing that I have that we are all creators of our own experience. And, you know, those existential questions, well then, why would we create bad experiences? And why would we create terrible things happening to us? Well, when you're a tantrika and a practicing tantrika, there is no good and bad. It's a non-dual world. We live in a non-dual world where nothing is particularly negative or bad and nothing's particularly positive or good. It just is what it is. Those are my spiritual beliefs, and I hold those beliefs with deep, deep conviction. And part of having these spiritual beliefs means that even if you're experiencing something that you don't want to be experiencing, you are choosing to experience that for some reason. That there is a part of your consciousness that has chosen this, and maybe you're not aware of it, but that's for you to figure out. And not everybody holds these spiritual truths either. And I totally honor that if that's not you. And if it's not, then you're not for me and I'm not for you, and we're not meant to work together. Because I believe and I expect that my clients to take personal responsibility for their part and what they are experiencing. And this is why I don't ever work with couples first. Because there's always some reason that you're coming to me. Well, you know, I don't have an orgasm in the way I want. Or if it's man, like, I feel like she doesn't want me and I'm always getting rejected. Okay, well, cool. Let's look at that. Why are you feeling rejected? Or if it's the woman that's saying, I don't experience orgasm in the way that I want. Okay, well, let's look at that. What's keeping you from experiencing pleasure in your body? These are things that you don't need your partner to figure out. You don't need to drag them to a counselor's office or a therapist's office for years and years and decades. That's often extremely unsexy to men. They don't enjoy this, and a lot of men don't get a lot out of it, but women as well. So if you have done that and you're like, yep, I totally get it. I've tried to drag my partner to therapy before and they came, but they were kicking and screaming along the way. Well, that's often because you don't need to in the first place. And you really need to look at how you are showing up in your relationship before you start dragging your partner into this as well. I know that's not a popular opinion, but I also don't care because I've been doing this long enough to know that when I get clients who are willing to take responsibility for their part, the one reaching out to me, not their partner, and they don't blame their partner, that's when magic and miracles happen. When they start to take responsibility, it's like the universe is like, okay, cool. She's willing to do the work. She's willing to dive in deep and do what it actually takes to get to where she wants to go, or him, whatever. And that is when things start to shift and change. The second reason that I do not work with couples until you have worked with me one-on-one first is that no one got taught how to have great sex. So even though you are in a relationship, you still need a sexual education to understand your own body and what's even possible. I have talked many times about how there are 8 defined different types of orgasms available in a female body and how most women only experience one of those 8. There's actually infinite kinds of orgasms that you can experience. And it still blows my mind how women are like, what? How is that possible? Or they'll get mad and triggered and just feel like, oh, well, that's not true. That would never work for me. Almost, it's like the defense mechanisms come up and they're like, they don't want to have to admit that that might actually be true and that it might be their own interpersonal conditioning and beliefs that are keeping them from that even being a possibility. And confronting those beliefs and that mindset is absolutely terrifying to them. So most of us have no idea of the pleasure that is available in our own bodies, and no one got taught how to activate that level of pleasure. No one got taught how to have breast orgasms. No one got taught how to have cervical orgasms. No one gets taught how to have orgasms from penetration, because most of the only thing that we ever get taught is a bunch of nothing or garbage conditioning. Okay. And if you don't have a blueprint for what's even possible, then how the hell are you supposed to expect your partner to help you experience these things when you don't even have an understanding of what's available for the both of you? Doing work one-on-one, or at least not as part of a couple. So if you're a woman joining my group program or whatever, then this is where you start to learn and get the sexual education that you never got growing up. So you learn your body, you understand what's even available or possible to you, and you start working with it in a conscious way of opening up the portals of pleasure in your body and expanding your capacity to feel and experience more pleasure, not just in the bedroom, but in your life. It's amazing how many women join my program and they're like, wow, I see how this is not so much actually about sex, but it's really just about experiencing more pleasure and joy in my life. And I'm like, yeah, it's so true, because we're doing jade egg work with a jade egg to increase your capacity to experience vaginal orgasms through penetration, or cervical orgasms, or G-spot orgasms, or anything like that. But a lot of the coaching work that we do in the group coaching sessions or the one-on-one office hour sessions with my assistant coach, a lot of that is inner child work, working with your inner masculine and feminine and what you got taught from your mom and dad about pleasure, sex, connection, being vulnerable with your partner, all of that. And until we really look at those things and integrate them, because most of what we did get taught taught us that we're broken, that it's not safe to be vulnerable, that we shouldn't experience pleasure unless we've checked off all of the to-dos first, all of that stuff. We have to look at that and unpack it in order to come to a place of integration and remembrance of our wholeness. Now, the third reason that I don't work with couples until I have worked with you one-on-one is that no one gave you a sexuality training practice to teach you how to have a healthy sex life for the long term. So how could you expect your sex life to be healthy if you never put any time or attention or training into it? I want you to think about any other area of your life where you expect to be healthy. Think of your own personal health. Would you expect to be healthy if you ate fast food all the time, you never worked out, you never learned how to read a nutrition label on the back of a box of food? If you never knew anything about how to stay healthy and you never worked out, would you expect to be healthy? Probably not. If you expected your brain to like have all of this amazing information so you could be really great at your career, would you expect to just be smart from the time you were born and never have to go to school or learn anything? Of course you wouldn't. That's a one that's really ingrained in society. Go to school, go to school, go to school, go to college, go to college. Like somehow we value our own mind training, but sexuality training is left in the dust and in the dark. So if you want a healthy sex life, if you want to experience passion and intimacy in your relationship, this isn't something that just passively happens over the long term for 99.999% of people. This is something that you just have to learn, and learn to pay attention to how you talk and treat your sexual organs, your breast, your boobs, your vulva, your womb, your cervix, anything. And if you never train your muscles in your pelvic floor to be toned and strong, well, then they're probably not going to be. We all need to learn to feel that we are in control of our sexuality so that it doesn't feel like our sexuality controls us. And this is true for so many men, is that they have a lot of desire, most of them, and they often think that they are being controlled by their penis, or they don't know what to do because they're so horny all the time. Some women experience this too. And to feel like you know what to consciously do with that, instead of feeling like, oh my gosh, I have all of this energy and I'm single and I want to have sex with somebody, but I don't know what to do with all of this energy. Or maybe I am in a relationship and I still don't know what to do with all this energy because my partner doesn't want me as much as I want them, that mismatched libido thing. Learning what to do with it, like it's not just about ejaculation, it's not just about having an orgasm, it's about knowing what to do with your sexual energy and using it to create more of what you want in your life. It's about learning to harness creative potential to create more abundance in terms of money, more abundance in terms of pleasure, more abundance in terms of joy or peace or time with your family. Whatever it is that you want more of, you get to learn to harness your sexual energy to create that. And no one teaches you how to do that. So, my love, that is why you need to work on your sexuality on yourself before you even think about bringing in your partner to work on this with you. Now, the fourth reason that I don't work with couples until I've worked with one of you one-on-one first is that doing couples work and learning Tantra are like the icing on the cake after you have done your own work. When you work on yourself, you learn to take responsibility for your part. You take what you learn and you bring it into your relationship, and it often changes the dynamic of the relationship itself without you even having to try. Because your partner sees, oh my goodness, she's actually more attentive and like wanting to have sex with me. She's more responsive to my touches and my advances. And it starts to shift and to change things. And there's usually at some point within working with someone who's in a relationship where the relationship begins, the inner work that they're doing on themselves, it begins to transform the relationship so drastically that I will give some communication and connection practices to help integrate what's happening in my client's life in the relationship, but not until it's beginning to show up in the relationship. And that is the beauty of this work, is that when you work on it yourself, you get to take it higher. Now, I have a group program that I work with women to break through all their blocks to pleasure, turn on confidence and connection. And this is just a start. Now, I would like to say that I just work with someone for a couple months and then boom, they're multi-orgasmic, boom, they have the relationship of their dreams. I would be kidding you. I'd be lying to you, because that is not how life works. It's just not. If you want to remain healthy, you have to continue to eat good food. You have to continue to exercise. It's the same thing. There's nothing different here. And you have to continue working on your sexuality. You have to continue working on your relationship. And when you work on your sexuality yourself, well, that's great. But now it's starting to shift to your relationship. And then when I'm done with working with a woman in my group program, for example, it's like, okay, awesome. Now we can take you higher. Now that you've done all of this on yourself and you've opened up your paths to pleasure, your capacity to experience more pleasure in your life and more connection and intimacy, great. Let's bring in your partner and see what kind of magic we can make happen with the both of y'all. Wow. Like, that is the icing on the cake. That's learning tantric sex together. That's learning how to feed. Most of my clients have an energetic or sensual, core blueprint for their sexuality. And a lot of times their partners don't, and their partners don't understand how to meet them sexually or what really feeds them sexually. And learning tantric sexuality is often one of those things that my clients crave, but their partners don't quite get it. Okay. And that's where we get to teach the both of y'all tantric sexuality, or to go into relationship coaching and work on deep wounding that one or both of you might have in relationship itself. If you've experienced relationship trauma, for example, or if one of you has a core wound that your core wound is constantly being triggered. That's what relationship coaching is for, to help each of you meet your inner child. Like, how do you know your partner's inner child? Are you familiar with your partner's inner child? Have you ever just seen the little boy, the little girl in your partner and just had so much love and compassion for how they're showing up and reacting sometimes because they're wounded? Oh my gosh, that's next level relationship. It really is. And if you struggle in relationship, or there's, a lot of triggering and arguing going on in your relationship, that's what relationship coaching is for, is to take your healing even deeper within the relationship itself. Or if you're just wanting to go higher in your sexuality together, learning sacred sexuality, learning the art of better sacred sex together, and really teaching your partner how to meet your need for energetic or sensual touch and affection. So important. All right. Now, a couple of things that I want to share with you is, if you are interested in learning a sexuality training practice for yourself, that's what the Jade Egg practice is all about for women. There's a how to start a Jade Egg practice e-guide on the website at www.tillystorm.com. There is a tantric sex starter kit for couples who are already in a good relationship and want to take their relationship higher and learn the art of better sacred sex. A lot of people fill out my quiz, are you ready for Tantra or next level intimacy? Most of you are not ready. And this is because the one question that gives it away is, do you already consider yourself to be in a great relationship and you just want to take it higher? If you're telling me no, that's because you're not ready. You need to work on the relationship itself first, and then you can take it higher through the tantric sex practices. But if your relationship is already amazing, you already have great communication and connection, and you just want to experience more sacred sex together, that's what tantric sex, my Tantra For Lovers program, is for. And you can get started to see what that might even be about by downloading the Tantric Sex Starter Kit at www.tillystorm.com. And also, we have monthly events coming up. So if you want to learn how to become multi-orgasmic with the Jade Egg, then I encourage you to sign up for our events at www.tillystorm.com/event. That will be our first event that we'll be hosting, and there will be others to come. So you can sign up for our monthly events at that link, www.tillystorm.com/events, or event with not an S, just EVENT. And you can get the sexuality education and training that you never got growing up and learn what might even be possible for you in the realm of opening up your pleasure capacity, in the realm of integrating your sexuality, in the realm of better sacred sex with your partner. So don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, and please leave us your 5-star ratings and reviews. We would super appreciate it. Thank you so much, and see you all next week.